This week at Side Money Garage, we worked on the Falcon, worked on the Vet, worked on some exhaust, worked on the trailer. Last week sucked. I tried using some GoPro editing software. Didn't go worth a shit. So, you have that. We took Sarge for a little ride, but we changed the fuel in the Falcon. This is the fourth fuel pump. Hopefully this one will work. Well, it's Sunday. We cleaned up the shop a little bit. We got a lot more to go, but we're getting back in the swing of things. Cold's gone, feeling better. Got a plan for the Falcon. We're out here going to start ripping the intake off this Corvette. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take care of the distributor. We're going to label all the wires for this. Pull the spark plug wires off. I'm not too worried about labeling spark plug wires. It's a small block Chevy. Then we're going to pull the valve covers, pull the intake, clean it up, and start getting ready to put the new intake on. And new valve covers, I believe. He got some new valve covers also. I have a feeling when we get into this thing, it's not going to be pretty, but hopefully it is for him. I looked all over hell on this radiator for a drain plug. I don't see one. If there is one, it's tucked up somewhere where my fat hands cannot get to it. So hopefully there's not a lot of water in this thing. We're going to pull the thermostat housing and see what we can see. Pull the hose and go from there, I guess. Alright, here's another side money job. We are going to fix that rotted out U on the exhaust of this truck, I hope. So we're going to try to loosen that V-band clamp, get the exhaust off, cut it off, and see what we can do. Alright, here's our fancy Corvette. We got the intake and valve covers off, distributor out, and all that good stuff. Next up, we're going to start cleaning it up. We got the Falcon back in here. We're letting it cool down so we can replace the rubber line. It's not rubber, I don't know what the hell that shit's called. But it's push lock fuel line. Something's restricting it somewhere. I don't know if it's a flap that I made putting a fitting on or what, but we're taking it off and running an aluminum line. That way there's no flaps. And we're going to see what happens there with that. But we're letting it cool down. We just took it down the road to make sure we were on the right track. So I'm going to clean all this up. Everybody's seen people clean up gaskets and disasters. So I'm going to put some paper towels in the valley, scrape all the gaskets, vacuum it out, vacuum this off. Put the intake on. See what we got. And go from there. By then, hopefully the Falcon's cooled off and I can start getting the fuel line off. Alright. Alright, it's Wednesday. We got the intake on the Corvette. Sorta. That's a hodgepodge hunk of shit. I thought being a Corvette and being a Chevy cheap garbage, but that intake, them Hakasui intakes suck. None of the holes line up right. Nothing seems to fit right. On to the poor Falcon. It's not hot no more. So we're going to pull off this fuel line and replace it with aluminum and see if that changes things. There ain't much more we can do with it. We've tried a new fuel pump. All we've came up with is there's a block somewhere. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to get started on getting that done. So this is where we are. We got to take that fuel pump off. Again, no fuel pressure. Thought it was the hose, tested that theory. I don't know why those fuel pumps aren't working out for me. So, we changed it around a bit. We got this gas tank. That's the old gas tank from Mike. We got this one from Mike. It's got a Sniper electric fuel pump in it. We're going to see if that'll give us fuel pressure. We blew through the line, did everything we could, tried a different line. It has no fuel pressure. It doesn't maintain it. I believe the Carter pump is just junk. So I'm going to put that tank in the 55. So we have to power this up, run the vent, and hook it up there. On the fancy Corvette here, we got the intake on, got the distributor mounted. Don't ever buy one of these intakes. This thing's a piece of junk. A Pro Products. This is a customer bought this. That thing is garbage. I mean bad. I would not recommend that. Well, first step is we got to get that fuel pump off and get a fuel pump block off on it. Then we got to come in here to this baby. We got to put a switch somewhere to turn the fuel pump on and off when the key's on if we don't want gas. Now we got to change the tires and I do some header gaskets, and I think we're going to take it for a good ride. Well, let's get busy. Alright, so far we got our fuel block off plate on for the fuel pump. In the, what would you call it, fuel area, we got our vent line ran. Our main fuel line, now we're wiring it up. We got a relay, a 30 amp breaker, to hook in. We're going to use a actual connector versus these little things, so that hopefully it'll stay connected and not come undone. So we're going to get on that now. We ordered some covering to cover the hose up so that it don't get no nicks or bumps if we put something in the trunk. Alright, so let's solder this thing in. Well, it's Tuesday, it's hot as Hades out here, and we're still having fuel pressure issues, we think. Not 100% sure. We got a Holley Sniper in-tank fuel pump. That little gauge said 4 pounds after you drive it. So I'm hooking up a gauge out there so I can see what it actually says, and hopefully it's a better quality gauge and we'll read a little something different. We went through and cleaned all the lines up to that filter. Just checked the filter's fine. Cleaned all these lines, and now I'm getting ready to mount the gauge. Things aren't going well with fuel pressure. I talked to Holley. They said I need it to maintain 5, and I'm barely getting 4. The manufacturer of the pump said the 1/2-inch hose shouldn't matter. It's just more volume should carry the same pressure. So I'm putting the pressure gauge here, through here, and it'll pop out up here, and it'll be on the outside of the car. Then we'll be able to see what it says at all times, hopefully. Like I said, I got all that cleaned. That was kind of boring. So now we're going to mount the gauge. I got to get the line, the fittings, figure out where I'm going to mount it, and how I'm going to get it to go through that cowl and come out where I can actually use it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole right in here somewhere for it to go in, go over, and it'll come out up there somewhere, up in one of these things. I think that's my best bet. Well, we got all them lines figured out. We got the fuel pressure gauge line figured out. We're going to go through here, which will put it up in the cowl, but not in the passenger compartment. It'll be up in this part, still separate from the passenger compartment. It'll run along and come out over there, where the gauge will be screwed down. We'll put a grommet there, a grommet down here, hook it to right there. All should be good. So now we got to attach our little gizmo to this, which we're going to use this little guy. It'll be attached sort of like that, come up there to there. So now we're going to put some sealant on all of this thing, both pieces, get some wrenches and put that in there. And see where we have it. See if we get some fuel pressure this way, what we have. I've never had such a hard time getting fuel pressure in a car. I don't understand what I'm missing. My friend thought it was closing the fuel line because it was a sucker, a pump out on the motor, so I put an electric pump in it. It's supposed to maintain 6 psi and it only has 4. I talked to Holly. They said with a 1/2-inch line it should still be able to supply it no problem. And I don't have it. Let's see what we can do with this. Alright, let's get some sealant and seal these 2 fittings in and get this hooked up. Well, today is Wednesday, I think. Pretty sure it's Wednesday. I'm working on a Corvette today. Got this hunk of junk intake on here. Doing spark plugs, valve covers, and the cap and rotor stuff today. Hopefully. Sort of gave up on the Falcon for a while. I'm burned out on that piece of shit. It's got no fuel pressure. Switching to... I don't know. I'm going back to what I originally wanted to do with the car. And I'm done. Chances of making it to the Midwest drags are getting very slim. Very slim. So, we'll see what happens. But on a side note, to make yourself feel better, you should always work on a Corvette. Nothing beats an American Corvette, except for every other car in the world. But, seeing how I like to make money, and this is a money job, makes me happy. So we're going to put these, I think they're platinum plugs in this thing, which I don't agree with platinum plugs, but hey, it's not mine. See what we can come up with. Well, we got the 4 spark plugs and valve cover on this side. So now we're going to go over to the other side, do 4 spark plugs and a valve cover, hopefully. I'm thinking this was the easy side, that's going to be the hard side. Not real sure, but we're about to find out. So let's take a walk over to this side of the beautiful Corvette. And of course we got tools to put away on this side so we can get to it, but I'm going to put some tools away so I can try to get to these spark plug wires. Oh, I see one. Oh boy, this ought to be fun. I see 2, I don't see those 2. I don't know if the easiest way is from underneath to get them plugs out or what, but we're gonna have to figure something out. Alright, back to work. I'll figure out how to get the spark plugs out and check in later. Alright, it's Thursday morning before work here. We're gonna start packing up some shit, getting ready. We may make it to the Midwest drags, we may not. There's the Falcon. There's the Vet. The Vet we know isn't going to be done in time to get it back to the customer. But I bought these plastic totes at a yard sale. I got 6 or 7 of them. I'm going to start loading them up with stuff I know we need to take. Alright, so in this tote so far, we have extra lug nuts, header bolts, extra breather, extra fuel pump, extra alternator bracket, throttle return springs, hood pins, the engine diaper, stuff like that. We're slowly packing it up. This one has a hose, all the extra hoses that we might need as far as that push lock stuff. so far. I have no idea what to bring, never did anything like this, so we're just bringing anything we think we might need. So we're still packing. I'm going to use the time before work to pack the trailer. Alright, we're working on the Falcon. We had some incidents here. We got the old tank back in it. We have a hole in the floor to fix now. And we got a shiny new air motor fuel pump that you can almost see right there. And now we got lots of fuel pressure. So now we're wiring up the trailer lights. Fixing that hole in the floor somehow with a little yank a puck or something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do right there real quick. Somebody already put some yank a muck in there at one point. It might have even been me, I don't remember. There you have it. That's what we're gonna do. So we got 3 lights, 3 wires here, I guess. Black, orange, and green. So the black one is the tail lights, license plate light. The green one, I believe, is the left. And the orange is the right. So we're going to wire those in real quick. Then we're going to put some magnets like that with zip ties in here to kind of hold everything still. Keep these wires tied up and out of the way. But the new fuel pump has good fuel pressure. I'm sort of rejuvenated. I don't know if I'd say I'm rejuvenated, but I'm back at it. So let's get some work done. Well, this is our first tote going in the trailer for the Midwest Drags. It's fuel stuff, extra fuel pump, jets, carburetor stuff, fuel filters, a whole nother carburetor, stuff like that. Hopefully we don't need none of this, but if we do, we got it. Never did anything like this, so we don't even know what to bring. So we're going to put this in, start loading up this trailer, getting ready to leave in a couple weeks. Alright, here goes tote number 2. This is miscellaneous electric stuff. Alternator, spark plugs, extra spark plug bracket, plug wires, wire, some extra hood pins, extra radiator cap, some spark plugs. We got 3 sets of plugs. Hopefully, we don't need none of this stuff, but I'm assuming we're gonna. Some extra spark plug boots, cap, rotors, all the weights and whatnot for the distributor. This is our next tote. We're going to call this one chemicals. It's got some brake fluid, some gloves, some wipes, never see, some tape, some grease, some silicones, things like that. You never know what you may need. So this one is for chemicals. This one over here is going to be miscellaneous. It's going to have some pieces of metal, my windshield wipers, stuff like that in it. Alright, this one's full of tranny fluid. There's 8 quarts of transmission fluid and a case of brake clean all stuffed in this tote. Alright, there's the Falcon sitting out there. This is the exhaust pipe to a truck I got to work on for a customer. He doesn't want to buy a new pipe. I bought an elbow. He doesn't want an elbow. He just wants me to see if I can patch this. He's selling the truck and he doesn't want to invest money in it, I guess. I'm probably going to have to put an elbow on it, but we're going to clean it up and see what we can do. We finally got the shop cleaned up. Started loading up our trailer for the Midwest Drags. Things are happening finally. So before we get the Falcon back in here and stuff, let's see what we can do with this thing. So we marked it right there and right there. That's where our elbow's gonna go. I can't patch this. I don't have that kind of talent or that kind of time, I guess. I'm gonna take some tape and make it so it's a straight line on both ends with some masking tape. Then I'll take my cutoff wheel and do the best I can cutting it and see what I can come up with. Alright, so we did a whole bunch of shit this week. Falcon's running good, trailer's coming. Went to put that exhaust we welded up on the big truck, and we got to get a clamp. And that'll be done. Things are coming along. Remember, like and subscribe, Side Money Garage. Leave us some comments, do something. Man. It's hot enough, you should be home surfing the net and you should leave a comment. Take care.